Oh my God. Yeah, you were that way earlier. I just remind you of this song. Right. Definitely, yeah. There's a guy who was on that. I'm like nervous saying that. Yeah, so we can, we're not going to start for a few minutes. You can let me know that later. If you have oh, yeah, yeah, take all those one. I think very good questions. Followers. Yeah, people I'm pretty sure Alright guys, we're gonna get started. Hi everybody, so Happy New Year's and welcome to the first meetup of the new year. Excited to have you guys back. If you're new, welcome. So today we have a presentation from South by Southwest. Those of you have been coming, they've been coming every month to talk about some of the new developments and just kind of promote and take questions about South by. So we'll have Jess from South by first up, and then we're going to have a little talk about tech trends, but that'll come after. So first and foremost, here's Jess from South by.
Oh, just AirPlay.
If you AirPlay, you got AirPlay? I mean, yes, you have it, but
AirPlay. The room is.
If you need help on it, let me know. Otherwise, we can find you that.
Yeah, don't walk away for sure. Let's see. So yeah, here's the presentation. Will you show me how to float that through the room?
Here,
Yeah, I'll take that.
Here we go. So what's the just have to turn this on. Oh, shit, that's what it's
It's the password. Hack all day, hack all night.
That guy was something crazy. Is it capitalized?
Let me see.
just you guys turn around. That you just put that code in.
I think it's
Oh, it's that one. No, but that's for the.
different companies, private space. Or you could I used to work, but
Well, that's not the Wi-Fi code, is it?
Are you not on
That's
Wi-Fi?
cool. Yeah, it's.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
that work? Alright, cool. First presentation in a long time, guys. So yeah, anyway, I'm Jess Elliott. I work for South by Southwest. I'm on their business development team. I look after the music clients that we have each March. A couple things I want to run over really quickly with you. First is an opportunity for startups and new companies founded within the last 3 years called Startup Spotlights. It takes place in our trade show footprint, convention center. Basically, if you've got a new company that has a little bit of budget and doesn't necessarily want to come in and do any sort of involved sponsorship, you just want turnkey, have a badge, be able to market to people and investors. The Startup Spotlight is your ticket. So again, you would come in and apply for this online. It would submit a form to us. We would review to make sure that your company fits the criteria, founded in the last 2 or 3 years, has something relevant to speak to in terms of a product launch or a new campaign, something that's going to really sort of generate interest around our community. The audience that you would be, sort of activating in front of are investors, thought leaders who are attending conference programming, industry people, through music and sort of creative tech at large. So it's really sort of a target-rich environment for you to come in and, just evangelize your brand and make new contacts and importantly, figure out what South by is all about. It can be quite a beast, and so this is like a really turnkey experience that we provide new companies. So you can come in, have something to speak to, you get a badge with it, and then go about your business and sort of optimize meetings and sort of new opportunities based on the face time that you're getting with people in the Startup Spotlight. So again, the Startup Spotlight location is within the Austin Convention Center, within our trade show footprint. It's open to all badge holders, artist wristbands, and then day passes. So it's Monday, the 11th again, 11 to 6 p.m., so it's all day. This is a change from last year's, so it was in the Hilton for like 2 hours. Due to demand and just sort of the opportunity to enlarge the program, we decided to make about 60 spots available for this and turn it into an all-day event. So really good ROI. The cost if you're accepted is $2,000. Again, that comes with a music badge, a 10x10 footprint, and sort of we produce and advance that with you. So again, just really nice sort of foot in the door for your brand at South by. I will make sure that we follow up with you guys for a link to apply to startups. But anyway, that's that opportunity. I want to make sure you're aware of it. You know, spots are really going to fill up in the next like 2-3 weeks. So, let's move.
Do you know how many spots are open?
I think that right now there's about 20 to 30 spots left. Yeah, so traditionally, like, startup spotlights come in really late. We kind of like hold acceptance and then, like, you know, send out acceptance letters in batches, you know, after the new year. So I encourage you to do that. Let's see, let's move on because there's a couple other goodies to talk about. Let's see, so huge content announcement today, not sure if you saw it. New keynotes include Bazamo St. John, Olivia Wilde, and Mike Krieger. And then loads of featured speakers. Some I'm excited about are Aesop Rocky, Jill Edmondson, Priscilla Chan, Tim Ferriss, who's sort of kind of like honorary South by Video Conference participant now. Can't get rid of him. And then this guy, Henry Winkler, sorry. Sorry. Let's see. All right, and this is Turf that I think we're all familiar with. It's like our music festival. So we showcase, you know, over 2,000 acts a year in over 80 venues around town. And the way that we announce artists is through several sort of, well, rounds of announcement, you know, up until January. This one coming up on Thursday is going to be our last big batch, and then you're going to see updates every week. So stay tuned. Our big announcement last week included Priest, Young Lean, Angie McMahon, Kevin George, and Coco. So inside tip, they're going to play our music opening party, and they're amazing. It's the guys in the yellow jackets. They're sort of a real favorite internally. Grace Carter, another 300 more acts. And then we again have our last sort of big batch announcement this Thursday at 10 a.m. Important reminders, South by Southwest Release It, which is a special pitch event designed for young startups, so relevant for this crowd, to come in and compete for awards and prizes around like new products that they're launching. So the deadline for that is this Friday in the day. And then also another important registration deadline is this Friday, and that is basically the last you know, tier of registration pricing available before we go to the walk-up rate. So if you want to come to South by, you know you're going to be there. If you want to buy a badge or two for, you know, folks in your company, then I suggest doing it before Friday before the walk-up rates increase. And in 5.5 minutes, we're almost done. Questions. I want to dedicate most of this time to those questions. The best one wins a music badge. So, hit me. Anyone? I was thinking to start like quick questions. Yeah. So it can be about anything of South by. Go ahead.
Volunteer opportunities?
Sure. Yeah. We, you know, volunteers are a huge piece of what, you know, like makes the magic happen. So we've got a whole team dedicated to our recruiting and sort of like evaluating what skill sets or interests you might have, and then placing you properly. So I think it's volunteers at southbysouthwest.com.
Yeah, if you go to like volunteer.smtsw.com, like the whole application is up there. I know we're gonna start having volunteer calls. I think the first one is January 27th, and then I think we might have 2 more, like the 2 weekends after that.
Yeah.
So if you really want to sign up for like some of our best crews, I really suggest you apply before the 27th. Go to that like volunteer call, pick your schedule and stuff. If you can make it to that one, we still have some crews after that one.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really curious about, you know, South by Southwest originally formed by choosing local acts. Where does your format now for how you choose the acts that get played, you know, get the showcases? I mean,
Sure.
Where is your criteria now?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, you know, at the base of it, like we are a discovery platform. So like our main mission is to discover and support new talent. You do see, quite a few established acts coming through, but key focus is finding that next generation of bands that are coming, or artists that, 2-3 years from now are going to be playing, big stages at Coachella, ACL, etc. So what are the criteria? Do you have a new record out? Like, have you toured enough in different markets to be, confident when you come to South by? We want to make sure that, you've got your, stage chops, that you can play a full set and engage and make the most of your experience. So we want to avoid a situation where bands come and, they're half prepared and really can't capture sort of what South by is trying to provide them. In terms of like, diversity in programming, we, book acts from, basically every continent except for one, probably. And work with export offices from different countries, media outlets, labels, etc. So, one of the things I take most pride in as a former booker for South by Music is just the sheer diversity. So,
So what is the pie? You have a pie, obviously, so you have international acts, you have regional acts, you have national acts. What is the pie for the people that haven't been discovered? How much is a percentage of that? And how do you find them? Because somebody who hasn't been discovered isn't going to have this kind of regional success yet, right?
Yeah, so we have, I think through our relationships, we were able to tap in locally, and also, at a larger scale with U.S. acts and abroad. Most of the bookers on the team have been in the industry for a minute and have developed a deep, bench of, contacts. So guys at labels, people who are just tastemakers and sort of, different scenes that could be in Austin or New York or Cape Town, South Africa. I would say that the makeup is, about 60-40, 60 US, 40% international, roughly. That could fluctuate year to year. But, we have a sort of keen desire to grow out the international front. And that's why, like our music opening party is so special, because we, love, giving the stage to a lot of these young international acts. So, yeah. All right, next question.
Can you briefly describe any examples of startups that have applied for Startup Spotlight? And also, what is the link?
Yeah, so I'll make sure that you guys, is there a whiteboard? Yeah. I'll write that down for you before I leave. And thanks for that. I should have put it in the presentation. The profiles for startups. In the past, we've had, new headphone companies who have some type of technology in there that's, special, separates them apart, and they want to, get in front of investors and, hey, try these on, this is the technology, this is what separates us. Can we have a meeting after this? So it's products, it's also label services. So it can be, a handheld sort of demo, or companies that have, software and sort of more online type of services. You want names of companies, or?
I was just wondering if you knew any examples that are going this year.
Well, so until we list that program out, we have to hold that information back. Yeah. We're just trying to get all those ducks in line and then put it forth in one good basket. Yeah. Okay. Let's go this.
Okay. What were the deadlines on Friday related to startups?
So there's a soft deadline in middle of Feb for Startup Spotlights.
Just that.
But the hard and fast deadlines I was referencing are for Release It, which is our pitch competition designed for product launches. That is again, end of day Friday. Then there's the registration deadline. So it's the last sort of tier price tier for registrations before it goes to the walk-up rate. Yeah.
I know that, you know, South by tries to be cross-cultural a little bit. Is there any preference given to, like, you know, music mixed with tech? Is that, you know, kind of where we are as a startup?
Thanks for bringing that up. I missed it. So in the startup spotlights, it's not just music and gimmick. It's across film, fintech, any type of like creative industry. So yeah, the playing field there is like wide open. It's not just for music.
Does it happen during the music festival, or does it happen when kind of interactive?
Great question. So it happens on a big convergence day. So Monday, March 11th is when film, interactive, and music are all happening. It's the first day of music, the second to the last day of interactive, and film just runs 10 days. Cool. Yeah.
Would that startup spotlight also be open to the wellness and health tech kind of companies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So
Okay.
I mean,
Has it in the past yet, or is it
we have a
still-
separate exhibition for wellness called Wellness Expo,
Yeah, yeah.
but where like startups are concerned, I think that that's fair game within spotlights.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, my name is David Quick, of Artist 6th Street. If anybody's been downtown, you've probably seen me within the last 5 years. I work with a different kind of medium, and South by Southwest is something that I've been checking out, been around, and been one of the only street musicians who's been able to get a leg in during the time because I sing my brains out. I'm very loud. My question to you is that as a local artist who doesn't have, say, the capabilities of being able to go out, which Austin represent, how exactly do I get into South by Southwest? Now, I understand this may not be a startup question, but hey, you're the South by Southwest guy.
Yeah, sure. So I think the first step would be we have applications available in the early fall. So I think they open up late July and close end of September. Yeah, you can apply there, and then we see that application and say, hey, in our landscape of Music Fest and the venues that we have, does this make sense and where would that best work? So.
And do you actually have a medium to deal with things like street musicians? People will call me a busker, but I'm a bard.
Sure.
So that covers a whole bunch of public performance.
Right.
So this type of thing is covered somewhere in there because it's artist to the touch.
You know, that's a good question. I don't really have a strong answer on that, but I would say that, each application that we receive is, looked at and considered like on a case-by-case basis. So, that might be a curveball that sort of, sprouts a question, hey, we haven't considered this community in Austin. Like maybe it's worth checking out.
That's exactly the question, so thanks a lot.
Yeah, you bet.
Sorry to jump in.
Are we pressed for time?
Oh, no, I was gonna ask a question.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Within the music application, the musicians are here, what exactly are they submitting? Is it like recordings and video, or?
Yeah, so the content you would submit is, we've got a couple questions. Number of shows played last year in your hometown, number of shows you played in other markets. So that's to sort of, figure out like your wherewithal, so to speak. We want to see like links to, Spotify, any sort of, streaming sites to see what kind of community you engage with, and sort of, that helps us determine whether or not like you draw at South by. For, the straight sort of showcase model, like in some of our bigger venues. The other things you need to, be thinking about are, what are your goals? Like, what does success look like for you to showcase at South by? Why are you here? And then what's your plan for success? Like, if you were to be accepted, like, how would you leverage the opportunity? Like, what's your marketing plan? What relationships do you have to sort of, optimize your experience? We just want to make sure you're successful, so that's sort of what we're really paying attention to in the application process. Yep.
Me or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, cool, I'll go. I don't know if this is a bad question, but, like, say there's like a startup, or, like, hypothetically, I guess mine, or not mine, but I work there, but, like, say we wanted to do something like the startup spotlight, but like, say like, hey, I've got $2,000 to throw at it right now. Like, what would you do for like a small startup that wants to kind of like get into something South by-ish, but like I guess like how would a young startup approach that, like to make the best out of South by? Because like sometimes like I'll see like startups like kind of like walking around downtown like handing out like flyers and stickers like that. And I mean, I throw those away.
Exactly.
So I mean, like, what's the best way to approach something like that?
Exactly. Well, sort of to touch on what you're saying, you know, yeah, you can sort of kill the planet and just like print a bunch of flyers and walk around town and put it on the street. That's because it's not, you know, your efforts aren't targeted enough. What we're trying to do is create an environment in which, you know, people walking by are going to be interested in what you have to say. We get that, you know, timing is, you know, important, and you know, if the budgets don't line up for you to be able to spring for that $2,000, you know, which really go towards covering cost of providing that space and the staff. We understand, you know, my suggestion would be to, you know, invest in a badge, come network, be inspired, and see how other companies have done it, and so that you can have like, you know, a waterproof plan for, you know, maximizing that spotlight when you're ready. Cool. Sure. Oh, I said you next.
Yeah, thank you. I actually have like a couple of questions now. One of them is more related to like the startups, I guess, and kind of, so for this like showcase, whoever's pitching, they have to obviously pay a certain amount, but they receive in return the badge, the space, all the services. But what is like the main priority for that showcase and the people who are picked? Is it more connected them with like the customers and like that client base, or is it more connected them with the music industry as a whole and like musicians who are performing at South by Southwest? And if it's either way, I was curious kind of what, if there are any plans or what the goal is to try and actually connect the musicians who are chosen to perform at South by Southwest with any startups who have maybe these great ideas for whether it's like earbuds and you want to connect them with musicians to help with like an ad campaign for this new product, or I don't know, getting like the whole community interacting with each other rather than just like, you won this startup application, you were picked, here's a badge, you can go watch artists, and kind of just expecting them to completely network on their own. Sorry.
So I'm gonna like bounce the question back to you to make sure I understand. So you're asking, you know, if this part of the spotlight opportunity, there is room for you to connect with artists.
Yeah, or like if you kind of, what your intent was for that, if the outcome is more just connecting with opportunities for meeting other companies and other clients, or if there's also an intent for building connections between actual musicians and these startups.
Sure, yeah, so, you know, that has to do with access. Like, showcasing artists do have access to the spotlights.
Okay.
And increasingly, you know, this whole, you know, phrase, brands and bands, you know, is common knowledge and just the reality of things. You know, I think in years past, artists were a bit hesitant to, you know, engage with brands proactively, or even if brands came to them because they're selling out. But this is how the economy, the music economy works now, right? And you can do meaningful stuff and have it be creative and, you know, and vibey, you know, it's not selling out. So I think that it's, you know, there's momentum there for artists to be curious at South by, to come and connect with brands, and to explore sort of the value that they can pull from being at South by beyond just hanging out in the artist gifting lounge, drinking beer, or going to the show. You know, so I would say a lot of like seeing that kind of traction is on us in terms of properly messaging that, and making sure that artists are aware of that opportunity. So that's a great question. Yeah.
I wanted to know if you could just briefly describe the different types of badges that are available.
Sure.
And then also, is there an opportunity for like a discount badge for certain groups?
Right. So there is platinum. So it all has to do with access to, you know, our different you know, events. You know, you've got, we're film, interactive, music, and like gaming. And then we've got EDU like on the front. I don't think this crowd's trying to get there that early. We've got platinum at the top. It's primary access to all South by events, music, film, interactive, gaming. That means, you know, conference, day parties, shows at night, film screenings. So, you know, think of your platinum badge as sort of your golden ticket, right? You also have music badges, which are primary access to music events. It's conference, programming, and nighttime showcase stuff. And then they have secondary access to, you know, film and interactive. Film, same thing for like film and interactive badges. You know, you've got primary to that vertical, and then secondary to the others. In terms of discounts, you know, I know it's important to like hop on this registration realm before it goes up to walk-up rate. In terms of discounts for, you know, folks who attend this meeting or Capital Factory, you know, enthusiasts, I'm not sure. But I think what we can do is dig into that and see like if there's any conversation like that going on, and if so, you know, message that out. Does that help?
It does.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Let's see, 2 more questions.
2 more. Yeah.
I heard a couple of questions in here that seem to revolve around like, if we can take advantage of some of the opportunities you specifically mentioned, what else is there that we could possibly tap into? So I'm curious to know about the scope of your role. Obviously, you said that you do biz dev with respect to music. Like how broad does that stretch, and what are some other types of opportunities are you involved in?
Right. That's yeah, beast of a question, I guess. Like just in terms of like how much we touch and like collaborate internally. You know, I work with Valeria, so she's you know, the backbone of music conference programming, and sort of educates me on all kinds of things. So you know, for instance, I work with music clients who want to activate. That could be labels, you know, music tech companies, export offices who are trying to grow their presence in South by and attract new business like to their market. That could take place in like, hey, we want to sponsor a panel, or like we want to be involved in conference like panel programming. I would work with Valeria on sort of in several different ways to, you know, unearth like opportunity for those clients that way. And you know, we work with clients who want to come in and, you know, exhibit at a trade show. It's sort of like our baseline sort of turnkey, you know, guarantee sort of ROI kind of opportunity, right? So we align the right clients in our trade show. There's a whole line of sort of like turnkey opportunities that like sort of we can sort of develop out with a client based on their marketing goals or based on just their general like interest in South by. That really spans the gamut, all the way up to, you know, multi-day activations, you know, in Rainy Street venues, or you know, like the German export office had like a marching band going down 6th Street playing techno tunes. You know, and like we help with the activation, the business sort of packaging, you know, all the logistics and just sort of insight there that's required. I hope that was articulate enough. Yeah, it's sort of, it's A to Z really. We're kind of like, we wear a lot of different hats. Yep.
Okay, so for the startups to get into your spotlight, what's kind of the minimum maturity threshold for spending that kind of thing? And then also the badge that goes with it, that comes with it, what kind of badge is that? You get it.
What comes with it is a music badge.
Just music. Okay.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's companies that were founded after January 2016, and I think have not raised more than, goodness, I need to like, it's at the end of the day. I wanted to say like 50, but let me double back.
50,000?
Sorry, 50 million. Yeah.
I think that That should be good.
It usually is on the phone when I'm like running through the criteria, people are like, yeah, I think we're good. It's just to make sure that like, you know, companies who are well down the road and are through multiple series of funding, you know, basically aren't pulling some of the spotlight, you know, the bandwidth away from, you know, companies who really are just coming in for a swing. Yeah, cool. Hopefully that was helpful. We'll write some information on the board, and thanks for your time.
And you can send me the link,
Yes.
and I can send that around.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to do it. My handwriting is terrible. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, good, we'll learn of that.
Yes, for sure. I have to think this over.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think this is
Okay, sorry.
Incentive to go later.
Yeah.
If he has to.
Yeah, everyone, yeah.
For sure.
Such suspense. Very much. I feel whoever's been coming the last few, I feel like I really am beginning to understand the inner workings of South by. It's very interesting. Like I felt like I could have answered the question about how do you pick music because James came last time and he told us exactly how you guys pick music. So, anyways, one of these times just have him do the pitch. Anyway, but thank you very much. And for those that are considering the business development stuff, I haven't done it myself, but I've sat in them. They're really cool, and a lot of people show up to those, and I'm sure that a lot of random in the sense that unexpected partnerships and investment have happened. I've heard of it myself, although I haven't been on the stage, but I've definitely seen it myself. I think it's super worthwhile. Relatively easy way to get on stage at South by, which that is very difficult to do in general. Okay, so anyways, so for the topic today, and those of you who have been coming for a while, maybe you've noticed a pattern that the first meetup of the year, we usually do tech trends for the year. We'll do some research and look at, hey, what are people talking about? What's the next big thing in music tech? And as you can see, I didn't bring my computer because when I was doing research, I found myself incredibly bored by what they're talking about. So I was telling Alex earlier that I would guess that in 2016 when we did this, it was exactly the same list of innovations. So blockchain is a solution for master's rights, AI for music recommendations, content creation through AI. You guys have probably heard the vast majority of the standard ones. So what I wanted to do today was just have a conversation and listen to you guys. I feel like this room is usually filled with people that are actively working on music tech projects, consumers of music, consumers of technology. So what do you guys think is what's happening on the fringes of music tech? Because it seems like the stuff that's getting written about is same old, same old. I didn't see anything new that was that exciting. The only thing that piqued my interest is voice, just because I think voice is going to be the next big interface in general. And there could be some interesting applications for music, but that's TBD as well. So anyways, if you guys don't know of anything that's happening on the fringes, that's okay. But if you want to just kind of shout out either some technology that you're excited about in music tech, something that maybe you just thought, hey, it would be cool if this existed or this could happen, or just music tech related problems that you personally feel that have not been solved. And the idea here is for anyone that's looking for a new startup opportunity, startup ideas, like take notes, because I think this could be a good opportunity to hear from some subject matter experts on some interesting ideas. So for example, I think Garrick is working on something that is truly different and innovative. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but his technology, it's a low-tech solution for artist health. And I think that's something that I've never heard anyone talking about before. So something in that, it doesn't have to be the next cutting edge technology, but just music problems that have yet to be addressed. So I'll open up the floor, whoever wants to just shout it out, we can have a conversation.
I'm kind of curious, this kind of
Yeah.
ties in maybe with South by Southwest. You mentioned James last month.
Yeah.
Came and spoke, and he highlighted a number of performances that would be happening this spring at South by Southwest. I mentioned the first guy he shared, it was like Simon Moritz Geist or something.
Yeah.
And he showed this video of the dude, and he like makes these crazy like little robots and has the whole set up with these. And there was another guy here from the city of Austin talking about the issue that Austin faces with a lot of venues closing out because the rents are getting too high, and so the city of Austin's looking at like, okay, what can we do to like make the most use of like all this unused time for these venues during the day to help them like get extra revenue and keep themselves afloat.
That's a great one.
And one thing I was kind of thinking of after I went back and I watched that video of that dude like 4 times, I was like, this is so crazy. And it just made me think about how like these days, I mean, I started on like violin playing and the acoustic guitar, and like these days, being in apartments, it's like, okay, headphones, synthesizer, doing that type of music.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of people, like I'm 27, but even just my age and probably even younger, they're so focused on like everything that's very digital. You know, I have arguments with my dad about like the value of like analog sounds versus like, you know, how much of it's the analog sound, how much of it's just how music's produced these days to make everything just like a wall of sound. And I mean, what about trying to take concepts like this dude, Simon, who's already gonna be here for South by Southwest, and trying to get him to kind of give like some sort of presentation on how he even started to use these just random machines and robots to make these real sounds and then make music out of that. And it kind of makes me think of like with coding, there's Scratch, I think it's Scratch, and it's like really simplified coding, like to get like kids or anyone who's just not into coding interested in concepts of putting these components together. And
I'm gonna start writing this down. So I heard a couple things on
yeah.
that one. So first off, I heard that the idea that was brought up, it was by a guy who said he was gonna be here, I think, next month. He works for the city of Austin, and what he was saying is that the city of Austin is actively working on how to help the venues make money I guess, during the day or when there's not shows. And so they were just looking at a bunch of different ideas, looking for people to brainstorm. It's only filling up venues. And then the concept of kind of I heard new instruments as the other one.
yeah, or just like reintroducing people to like real sounds, like maybe using those spaces as like workshops or like factories, for lack of a better word, for like people to come and like just feel like this is like a tube, and if you hit it, it makes a sound. I don't even know, just like getting people to like kind of experiment with creating sounds again. Instead of just pushing a key and having some digital thing pop up.
Also mentioned kids and how to make them more engaged with music. I think that's an interesting one too. I'm just writing it down in case anyone wants to take a picture later. Any other ideas, problems that haven't been solved, or and just shout it out. Sorry, I see like a hand kind of.
It's kind of like, it's really, really low tech, and I kind of just thought about it the other day, but like, I was leaving a Yelp review for like, or not read, like I was reading a Yelp review for like some place I was trying to get to, but I was thinking, I was like, why isn't there like any like, I guess like community driven like review systems for music? Like usually when you look at analytics, it's like off Spotify's like yearly analytic thing or something.
Yep.
Like, why can't like just a normal person go and like review something without making like a music blog or like a YouTube channel or something? Like, just go to like an app or like a website and just like.
I never thought of that. So you're saying like differently than just like a blog where people just leave a bunch of, or like Reddit or something, like just a community comment.
I think Ardio used to have that.
Yeah, Rich Music.
What is it?
Ardio, they got acquired by Pandora, and
Okay.
they used to have that where you could like comment on each.
Yeah, like, I don't know, that'd be like cool. Like sometimes I'll hear a song and I'll be like, damn, that felt good. Like, it's like, I don't have anywhere to tell people about that.
That's
Nobody else
interesting,
has
yeah.
music rap, so.
It would be an interesting way to measure a song's impact too, of like good or just impact. So it could be that it really sucked and it got a ton of comments. So just to see how viral the song can be by just eliciting that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm also
working on it,
Let
though.
me just follow up on, I mean, I
Yeah.
think if you treat it like a band though, like as a business entity, it's like we have all this kind of feedback to give business.
I'm sorry, so that I could treat the band.
If you thought of a band in the same way that there's a business, the tire shop, you know, you get all kinds of reviews on the tire shop.
Oh, yeah.
You can
I
use
see what you're
the
saying.
exact same infrastructure to just
It's
get
getting
comments
closer to
on
the Yelp.
There's not quite.
Yelp for bands.
Right.
I mean, that's basically what, like, the whole idea was, like, yeah.
Well, I use a website called Rate Your Music. It's rym.com.
Is that what that is?
It kind of does that, but it has a really bad interface. So,
RYM.com. Okay.
Similarly, there's this,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
excuse me, go ahead.
Go ahead, if it's follow-up thing, cause I have a different.
Oh, got it.
thing, so go ahead.
Kind of a tangent to that, and also with you the Pitchfork Top 100 up there. There used to be this great music blog Zeitgeist that the Hype Machine did every year, which was just sort of like an aggregate of all the different music blogs. They would just sort of tie together everyone's different top albums, songs, artists of the year.
Yeah.
And they would just sort of aggregate all of them and say like, okay, the internet has spoken.
Yeah,
Like,
this
these
is
are
the
the
winner.
top things of the year. And that was incredibly helpful, but they haven't really done it the same way yet.
Okay.
It could easily be part of that and just look at it from a different approach.
So aggregate popular, we'll say content.
I think does Metacritic do that?
Metacritic kind of does that. Yeah, they created like a point system for, but it's not as specific as what you're saying, that it was probably curated by here's the most relevant
Here are
music
the
blogs,
tastemakers.
here's the tastemakers, and then.
I feel like Metacritic is more sort of designed for sort of like, large scale publications.
Right.
Whereas like what I was talking about is more geared towards, music blogs.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, these are our top 10 lists of the year, so very specific, not,
Yeah.
Rolling Stone's top 10.
Yeah.
I think Hype Machine still has, they have one on Spotify that they do top blogged.
Cool.
Which is kind of, I don't know if that's what you were referencing, but.
Yeah, this year they were doing things just like, oh, here's some, you can kind of sign up for the premium service and see some of this stuff. Or you can kind of get some,
Kind of
like,
monetize that, okay.
here's like a DJ playlist of some of our favorite songs, but it lacked the whole sort of data
Yeah.
analytical aspect of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's something that I've been, noticing for a while, that somebody someday is gonna, fix or solve this problem, but, cause I do music, but I'm more focused on film and stuff, but one of the things that producers have a lot of problems with is getting the song rights to stuff. Sometimes that can be some of your most expensive, expenditures on a film. It can be, if you have to go through record companies, that's a lot of how they're making their money now. But we're in a real unique city in Austin where there's just so much talent and so much great content. And these are a lot of independent people. But there's no way for these producers all over the country and the world to be able to connect with it, because they're looking for something
That exists.
specific.
Yeah, that exists. You
Oh,
can
it
put up,
does.
I don't know the name of it, somebody
Well, I
here
didn't have
after
time to do
does.
it anyway, but.
That you can put exactly like, hey, I'm making a movie or a short film about this, and this is the sound I'm looking for is X, Y, Z. It's kind of like Upwork for music projects, specifically for content.
Well,
Does
great.
anyone know what
I
it's
didn't
called?
realize that
There's
it
quite a
exists.
few of them
Yeah.
where you can do that sort of thing, but there are some companies here in Austin that are trying to make it more local and trying to connect in with the
Oh, I
film
see. You're talking about the
Especially with the
local
local-
to get
Oh,
more
I see.
especially
with the-
with the local film, it just isn't picking up this.
Yeah,
quick as
because
they
we
like.
have such a hotbed of talent here,
I would say in general, maybe you're tapping onto more of local artists.
It doesn't
connecting
have to
with-
be,
with
I'm
maybe
thinking more
just
independent
businesses.
artists actually, is, more independent artists, because, but I'm glad to hear that somebody's done that, cause I don't have time to do it, I'm doing something else, but I didn't realize that problem had already been solved.
Yeah,
So,
that
do you
part.
know what it's called?
I don't.
Cause I know.
I'm sure if you Google
Yes.
marketplace for music, for film, that may be kind of a broad, but it does exist.
Okay, well, good to know, okay.
Yeah, a lot of them you can just buy it on the spot, play it, buy it,
Yeah.
and it's a flat fee rather than having to try and.
Yeah, they
get
try to,
the rights
what
to it.
your point about
Well-
negotiating and not knowing all that stuff. they
Yeah,
try to
cause
fix
I
all of that.
haven't heard of that, and I know that would be really useful for the artist here, for the musical
That's the
artist
other part
here.
too, so they can get extra work.
Because it
Yeah.
has become really difficult, with the technology, it's changed the business model, and it's become really a challenge for musicians to make a living. And seems like it's mainly just by playing live, but if you just play live in Austin, you're certainly not gonna be making that much money, because, we're spoiled here, we don't, $5.
Cover fee, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else?
An interesting trend I noticed is using AI to generate sort of music for film and TV.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool, and so, like,
Yeah,
a couple of these
that's
startups are getting very good at it.
Yeah, there's kind of the AI for content creation. We have one here.
Yes, because it's like a sea of.
What's it called?
information.
What's it called? I will tell you the name of
Sorry,
it.
what
Two
was
months. Yeah,
Well, we don't do music, we do the
lyrics. You do
yeah.
a big part of music.
Yeah. It's called Second Brain.
Second Brain?
Yeah, we trained a AI, or machine learning algorithm, I don't like to say AI, like, it's not an AI. But we trained a machine learning algorithm, English through hip hop lyrics, so basically we taught it how to rap. And we're trying to flip that into, individual use cases, where you could use it for yourself or something, or like for a business to use it to like talk about their brand or stuff. But, yeah, so we did.
Cool. It's like AI script.
Exhale, XHAIL.com is one that does the AI creation. And
Oh, there's
others
a
called-
few, yeah.
And then there's called Amper Music.
Yeah, I know Amber.
Yeah.
And the big benefit for a lot of those, the AI music so far, seems to be around kind of like a B2B angle
Yeah.
of background music for videos or music that's played at restaurants and facilities, so they don't have to pay the high fees. Yes.
I just want to say also, one other thing I'm noticing, although it's been going on for a while, is a lot of people trying to figure out collaboration for
Oh, yeah.
musicians,
Yeah.
which can be really difficult. And I'm wondering if there can't be a more local angle on it, because I'm seeing a lot of stuff where you're collaborating with someone, from across the country, across the country, across the globe. But it also seems like it could be really valuable, speaking to the sort of more analog side of music, connections, ways to collaborate for local musicians too.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, maybe we're thinking about it too
broad.
tech heavy, and it's
Yeah.
just, hey, let's just meet the first floor Capitol Factory, grab a beer, talk about our influences, and then go play somewhere across the street. Go ahead.
On that, I work with a startup out of London called Tracked Music. It's multi-track recording on your iPhone, and has a social aspect. You can build friends, you can do all sorts of recording that way, so you might want to take a look at it.
There you go. Track music. Yes, go ahead.
I was just kind of thinking over that local artist indie connect idea that you had.
Yeah.
Cause I do I'm also a part of the film industry as well, and then I want to do film music, so I've been writing a lot of music and stuff. I've tried to put it like on libraries, and stuff like that, and all that, and I just got a Facebook page again, so my strategy in the past was just, I'm about to do it again, just hit up Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Advertise and all, but as far as that industry goes, it is kind of hard sometimes for the composers to connect with the directors, stuff like that, besides just hitting up groups and stuff, so a lot of the internet sites out there tell you, well, there's just not as much work out there, and I'm kind of like, there's gotta be a little bit more interesting than that,
Interesting. I never really thought of composers.
I mean, it's just
Looking
that
down
these,
the bottom, but-
yeah, there's college boards and all that kind of stuff and all, but, I haven't had as much success with that, and I'm sort of thinking, well, it'd be great if there was a way for directors and producers to connect with, like, film composers, sort of like that,
What about what are some examples they would know of businesses not in entertainment, meaning not a movie company, that could benefit by connecting with local artists for, even if it's just creating a better environment or better differentiation?
Yeah, well, all kinds of stuff, but, it's, especially for mental health, wellness stuff, comes to mind immediately around that. It's part of how we're wired,
Oh, so you're saying it's kind of like playing background music or performance enhance a wellness kind of experience?
Music's very powerful, and one of the reasons it's powerful, how it affects us on physiology, it hits us emotionally in the limbic system and the emotional part of the brain through the auditory system,
It's
through
interesting.
vagus
I'm
nerve.
for music for
kind of
wellness,
thing,
broadly
but-
speaking.
But yeah, it's very healing. It's been used, you know, for a long time for that. But we're also learning more about it scientifically, you know, how that works, and it's fascinating, and it works.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Along that subject, I try to heal the community that I'm in every single day with music, because it's the only thing that relates to every single person.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, one of the things about it is that most of the people who I play to most all the time are people who can't afford to go in to get tickets to go to a show. So they stand outside and they go, oh, well, and people try to push them off. But I'm dealing with a class culture forum, which is what I deal with in public performance. In other words, everybody can talk when they're sitting around listening to the music. So everybody actually has a chance to be able to communicate where they wouldn't before with music. And one of the things about it is that if you want a way to put a capitalistic idea into an art form, well, there is such an old idea, such as if you have products that you need, well, individual artists need endorsement, and if you have something that can help the people on any way, shape, or form, any class, within that forum, then you can actually be around, find out what your market is by checking out your artists who are doing things in the immediate area, and you can find out first what the market is there, how to get into it, bring these to a productive a part of society. If you just have, like say you have oils, okay, and audio things heal a lot of people. I take and put incense up sometimes, I'll put flowers, I'll put different things around, and people react to it. So you put expectation, and you put music to things. If you have products that you have that can actually help the people on a whole, then people see it helping the people, and they can actually see it at work. So I suggest finding your local artists and seeing about, hey, let's see if we can give a test batch. Let's put this incense here. I got this product here, well, these pictures, these things, prints, whatever your product is, and seeing how it affects the people so that you can actually prove your product's worth. Just simply saying, in the capitalistic sense, we need to find out if whatever the product is going to sell. Well, it's a damn fine idea. So find your local artist and find out how to team up with them.
There you go. That's right. There it is. Local Artists Connect. ×2. Got it on both sides.
I'm kind of curious to see what happened with performance wearables. So,
VR?
like, yeah, so like sound manipulation or, I guess, light manipulation as, with the artist at the control.
Has anybody worked on a startup doing anything? Like, it seems like that's been hot for a while and it's died.
I don't have a startup, but I'm working in something just for personal use that's sort of the Ungean Heat kind of thing, but using a little more sophisticated sensors and the actual music synthesis on board using Faust and then Bluetooth through a speaker. And I've been working on that as a hobby project, but that's something we can talk about. It's fun.
Does anyone know of any like commercial? Because I know that for the longest time we've had like gloves that control performance. They've tried to sell AR and VR as performance enhancers, but nothing has taken off.
Hasn't like Imogen Heap been working on some stuff with Ariana Grande was using like those like glove things?
The glove
over
thing,
there?
yeah. I don't think it really. Everyone thinks it's kind of cool, but I've never seen it. I haven't really heard much. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't
So this one's
either.
still a open question if that's something people actually want. Are there any others?
Well, kind of that performance wearable thing.
Yep.
Like I remember it was like a couple of years ago, and we couldn't figure out a way to do it properly. But for a South by Southwest hackathon thing, we partnered with some artists, and like completely forgot who they were. But they were talking about they were playing like a live DJ set, and it was like a very interactive show. And so what we did for them was, if you downloaded their specific app, they'd be able to play music off of your phone, like kind of like a spot where it'd be quiet from the speaker, but they can play like MIDI sound, or like they can trigger their MIDI device to play music off of select phones like in the crowd.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. But like the lag time was like insanely horrible.
Yeah, the lag time just ruined that whole. If there was any issues there.
I have one more really out there thought.
Go ahead.
Speaking of some environmental sounds and stuff like that, there's always sound design for things outside of the music industry or outside of the entertainment music industry. Sound design for even things, say, like electric vehicles, which don't have much of a sound, for pedestrians and other people in the area. Could you have that make a sound, or music or something?
Oh,
So
okay.
you can get, so there's all kinds of applications, aside from even just in apps and things, for sound indicators. So just environmental sounds and using sounds for industrial uses, kind of.
Interesting, yeah, I thought of that one. Not that I've thought of these, but.
There's also, and it's not a musical thing, I worked for a startup a few years ago that did a workplace safety wearable. And one of the things it had was a microphone for, sound level for ear protection. And one of the things we ended up doing was, we would have installations and we would map the sound, do a heat map of the sound in the area. So not only would, you can mitigate hearing loss by wearing ear protection, but you could mitigate it at the source by just knowing where it was at.
That's interesting.
And that kind of,
I don't know how I would define that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a musical thing, but it's still the same kind of thing, yeah.
Save your ears. All right, any others? Have we exhausted the brain power? But actually, what's going on with music festival and planning events, music or related or otherwise? Is there any particular piece of putting together a South by event, which I know is a very broad thing to say, but where you're just like, God, this is really inefficient. We should really fix this. You're on camera, by the way.
Yeah. It certainly feels that way. So I better understand the question. I mean, just to sort of bring it in a little bit.
Yeah, just
it's like, are there any areas of our booking process or event production that
all
curatorial
fair
stuff?
game, yeah. Whatever is most relevant to your day to day or to your goals, I guess.
Sure. I mean, our back end, we still use FileMaker, and it drives me crazy. And I know that there are new, music tech startups out there that are trying to consolidate all the things you need to do as a programmer or promoter, talent buyer, to just make it super streamlined where you're intaking talent to evaluate. All their APKs are sort of nice and laid out for you. You are looking at sort of different metrics, like if you're a talent buyer, you're looking at sort of attendance at shows and sort of tickets sold and all this. It doesn't really apply to South by, but we could take a form of sort of that problem and sort of make it our own. We intake over 10,000 applications a year, so how quickly can we sort of just see the most relevant information, and then once we make a decision to accept them or not, and then how to slot them in which of the 80 venues we book, and then have that data populated onto our online schedule. The steps it takes through FileMaker did my head in, and so some of these music tech, sort of startups who are coming out with the back end software are really going to disrupt that industry at large and sort of make lives easier for promoters and talent buyers, at any level. But I see something like that being very beneficial and time-saving for us. I don't really mess with it too much anymore, but I know that it's still sort of a headache because FileMaker can be buggy, and having sort of the data that you're taking and transferring to your schedule back in, there's a lot of area there which data can be incorrect or corrupted or just be missing.
And does that exist, or is it just that South by hasn't gotten onto whatever the software? Is it that South by hasn't picked one yet, or is it does that just not exist?
It's really about, and that might be TMI, but I will say the way in which our team is just experienced and used to working through those problems, sort of outweighs and just using what we know outweighs the time and effort it would take to sort of transition to a new
something new.
system.
Yeah.
I know it's a conversation that we have every summer, but it's like, how can we just improve the system we already have?
Yeah, we're too ingrained.
Yeah.
Does anyone know, does this exist? Anyone work at or for or with booking software, logistics software?
There's a couple out there like Prism, I think they're local.
Oh, is that Matt? Matt
That's,
Fords?
Steve
Okay.
Sternshine, I think. Yeah, so anyway, just thinking of an example of how what we're talking about could solve our problems, that's probably the first thing that I would look at.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
I just really wanted to bring something up, it's sort of ancillary to this, but well, I hear somebody from South by. There's an organization that's based in Kingston, New York, that started in 2010. And basically their mission is, they have big music festivals, I think they've moved to some other cities. But what they do is get medical professionals to volunteer, doctors and dentists, to ride, and they'll, have bands play, but it's for uninsured artists. So they basically have a festival with, many music artists, but they provide all of the music artists who need any sort of health care.
Yeah.
And they get doctor volunteers. They're called O Positive, and they're out of Kingston, New York.
That's cool.
I'm wondering if South by could integrate some of that kind of,
Don't know, yeah. I mean, we work, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I try to markedly look up anything in the country that was similar to mine, and
Yeah, check them out.
I didn't find them, so it's called O Positive.
O Positive. Yeah, they're out of Kingston, New York. I haven't been to the festival, but I know people who have been.
Just to touch on like what South by does for artists and their well-being, like we support HAM, and as well as Sims Foundation, which provides free healthcare for artists, free mental health care for
Okay.
artists. So they're a wonderful organization. If you ever know anyone in need of mental health, support, Sims is wonderful. Yeah.
Do you guys sponsor?
We
Like
do, yeah. So they're a partner. We support them in several different ways, but just most tangibly, like on site, is we give them several different touch points throughout the event to engage with our artists and just make sure that those who are burnt out, stressed, just finishing up a tour and maybe about to make some bad decisions, or feel alone, have sort of the support they need to kind of return to baseline.
Sounds like
Cool. Any final?
By the way, I'm gonna announce the winner. Dude.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've got to peel out, but I'm gonna give you that card. Tristan. Yes. Cheers, man. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's great. Well, the rest of the time we'll just hang out and let's see. Yes, we didn't finish super late like we have been. Shit, I can't see the clock. Okay, cool. Yeah, we have some time to hang out. So we'll do a quick round of applause so everyone knows who's here. So just if you guys have been here before, you know the drill. But just say your name. If you're working on anything in music or anything you want us to know about, let us know. And if there's anything you want to get out of tonight or come into the group, let us know. And hopefully serendipity happens. So my name's Luis. I'm the co-organizer of the group with Alex. Not looking to get anything. Just wanted to have a place where we can come and hang out and talk about ideas on a regular basis, and hopefully you guys get a lot out of coming to the groups.
I'm Alex, co-organizer with Luis. We used to have a music tech startup together called Music Meets Video. I'm looking to meet people that are starting music startups and kind of give the lay of the land of music tech in Austin if possible, and provide any connections and some good people to know if possible.
David Quick, grassroots organic performer, a tech that I wish to get into and have worked with. I made 7 albums, worked for a couple of record companies, I've been a staff writer, and I figure working with the people is the best thing, and I figure enlightenment is also to be of service to the people. So the things that I know how to do, I put out there, and one of which is to use the musical talents that I have and bring people into it so that they ask questions, having to do with how do I start it, and one of which is don't be afraid, you have a community to be in, so if you want the connections, put yourself out there, I'll show you the energy spots and the Zen spots, publicly where people are good and friendly toward art and put them in the right place, right? Put the guppies in the pond as much as possible in a public place. And then ship them off to wherever it is that their trips need them to go. So, Bard of 6th Street, once again, David Quick, thank you.
I'm George Hampton. I just want to add to David's thing. If you're interested in seeing him play, it's every night on where Esther's Follies is on 6th and Red River. So tonight, drop a few dollars in this case. I'm an embedded software developer that I specialize in signal processing, and I'm actually between gigs. I'm a contractor. So I came tonight to see if there's any, tech startups that need this kind of skills. I had a failed startup a few years ago and just realized I'm not the right person to organize a startup, but I love the startup culture and community and getting in on things early. And so if anyone is developing, an audio tech product and software development, talk to me later.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Greg. I just moved to Austin. I'm a React Node developer, and I once built a playlist generator. So I thought music tech was kind of related, so I came down.
Nice. Where do you move it from?
I was traveling for the last 6 months. I worked remotely, so.
Cool.
That's awesome. I just started doing that.
Cool.
Yeah.
My name's Freddie. I'm a music producer, audio engineer, sound design guy. This is my first night here. I came just to see if anybody needed some input for like sound engineering or any kind of the sciences behind sound. I'm pretty fluent in all of the huge DAWs. I do a lot of scoring. I produce, I've done some engineering, mixing, mastering, so if anybody's doing some like headphones and they need some audio engineering or anything, hit me up. That's pretty much it.
Did you take note? There's a bunch of stuff here that you could have worked on.
Yeah.
Down.
What about you?
My name is Juan Rojas. I kind of already said where I work at. That machine learning company that does lyrics and stuff. Yeah, that's like I'm just a developer, React to Node as well. Kind of working on that Yelp for bands thing.
Yes.
Honestly, yeah. I just kind of want to say it and
Check
see
out rym.com.
Yeah, I will, and I will judge it very, very heavy. The only reason I like to come here is like really just because it's kind of cool seeing all the music tech stuff going on, and yeah, pretty much it.
Hello, I'm Tristan. My background is more in international nonprofit education. So I just quit my job at UT to start a web development boot camp with General Assembly, and it's been awesome so far. We actually just started. I forgot your name already, but we just started with Node. So we'll see how I fare with that side of it. It's been awesome so far. Definitely feels like a completely different language. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just here to kind of. I just wanted to know who is interested in these things too. I feel like I took this test for like Gallup's Deliver, and they give you all your strengths. Like, oh, these are your strengths, and my number one was like ideation. So I think that like I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. I love to be in places where I can just meet people and we can just like throw like ideas out there. You can take 99 or 100% of them and throw them in the trash, but I'm just hoping to meet people who just like to talk and be positive and have crazy ideas and share them.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Eddie. I make ambient electronic music, and I just came just to try to meet people and find some opportunities to do music for film or just share my music somehow.
Cool.
I'm Steve Gomez, primarily a music composer, film composer. Also happen to do video, videography, and video and audio editing as well. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily coming to look for any contacts, maybe or anything. I figure we're all musicians here, and stuff. But I mean, the tech side of everything interests me. I'm kind of curious what's the new trends, what's going on, what's happening out there, Cause I mean, I use so much tech already, already as it is,
I'm John Mulligan, kind of an entrepreneur, inventor, innovator kind of thing. I guess sometimes I just get really annoyed and want to solve like something. So I was here just because I had an idea about, sometimes or at a live venue, and it just takes forever for somebody to get the sound check done. And then it turns out bad. And so I just, you know, around that to help just automatically calibrate. Like one good sound engineer gets it calibrated once, and then that would be with some calibrated sources, and and then repeat the thing for the venue to take into account, the room and different speakers and everything. So it's just end to end kind of thing.
That makes
So
a
that's
lot of
a-
sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it doesn't exist, honestly. The amount of time that they, like you said, that they waste in between acts, just like touching and fixing and. And
So I was just first with, is it a problem? So it sounds like maybe it is, and then, so just ideas. So I'm always, if anybody wants to partner on that, is electronics, it's acoustic kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah. No, I had some other ideas in the past too that are more just, one was around safety. It was basically hearing protection, but you would talk to, when you came in short range to somebody, you would speak to them just like you normally would. You don't want to speak to everybody, but I come in to Bluetooth range of you, and then I want to talk to you with my hearing protection in.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Right. And there's also like, I want to talk to somebody at a club, the music is just beating or whatever, like, like maybe you just hand out these headphones and you can those kind of things. I had another thing about, you reminded me just, hearing aid kind of thing, how to directionally hear. So just the idea. So if anybody's interested and wants to partner on some of those, I got ideas.
My name is Mark. My background is mostly in graphic design and illustration, although I have done a certain amount of music production, and I've been I was also a musician for a number of years. So I'm looking for work. I'm looking to find out how I can help out maybe someone who's in a startup, somebody who's working for a company that maybe needs some design-oriented help, but I also have an understanding of music as well. So I'd also be interested in working on music production with someone if they need that as well. So.
I'm Elise. I'm an entertainment and intellectual property attorney here in Austin. I mainly come to this because I feel like sometimes I get lawyer tunnel vision, and I like to come here and just kind of hear other people's opinions, and it always brings up something new for me. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Van. I moved to Austin at the end of last year, and my background is in music business and entertainment business. But what I really love is the clients that I've always worked with in the digital space. So music and tech is what I really love. I'm working on a couple projects right now. I'm working with a festival in North Carolina called Moog Fest, which is based upon the Synth Maker, and this great festival. So I encourage anybody who wants to check it out to check it out.
When is that?
It's at the end of April.
Okay. Yeah, I've been wanting to go for years. This is
It's a really special.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. I also do a lot of clearances for film and TV clients, so a lot of that stuff you're talking about is very familiar to me as well. So, but yeah, looking to get more plugged into the music and tech community here. So if there's anyone that needs help in the digital and music and media entertainment space, happy to talk.
My name's Shelley. I'm kind of here in a roundabout way. I was telling a friend who had to leave. I do music, but I'm so glad I'm not doing music because it's so tough economically. I'm surprised this room is not packed out because there are so many musicians in the city, and technology is just disrupting a lot of things, and there's this period where things are so disrupted, it's like floors out from under people, and actually we need more business help, I think, for those musicians here, and legal help and things like that. But I just came to check out and see what you guys are doing, because I can tell you, a lot of my friends are musicians, and they're just kind of at a loss with the tech thing that's come in, because they just do what they do. They're musicians and they create, and there's all this stuff going around. So I was kind of hoping that maybe you guys were solving some problems of how to, because the models and stuff are having to change with all this stuff. So that's kind of what brought me here. I'm not looking for anything specifically, but actually did meet some people that were very interesting. So I'm glad I came.
And you know what, sadly, when we were saying earlier about the trends that have been the same since 2016 to now, it's making more money for indie artists. That's like always, and it doesn't change. I don't know if anyone has the killer idea, like you're sitting on $1 billion idea, but it doesn't seem to get much traction with how to make more money.
Yeah, if I could just kind of ask a question, because one of the things, it's something that's changing in the city. I've been here for about 20 years, and so I've seen a lot of change, and we're having a lot of tech come in here. And it seems like the tech culture isn't quite as into live entertainment and some of the arts that Austin's been used to. So that's part of what's disrupted the city a bit.
That's not been my
I've
experience,
seen.
but this is not the right room.
Well, it's a discovery process, is what I'm here to say. Okay, cool.
I'm Kai, I just moved out here, super passionate about music. So I'm learning that I'm a lot better at the tech part of it than the actual talent part of it. Just graduated, got my first big boy job out here, doing something in tech that I'm not quite as passionate about, and every single personal project I ever did in school was music related, especially machine learning music related, and so trying to find that actually fun and interesting next job. So.
Yeah, do what you love.
Yeah, just part of it.
Hi, I'm Patrick. This is my first time coming to one of these events. I just wanted to check it out. I moved here from Nashville a year and a half ago, and I do music research. I'm a music research analyst for Facebook.
That's cool. And then Garrett, do you want to go since you came in and out?
Yeah, sorry, I'm late. So my name is Garrett Baskerville. I am a physician and professional photographer. I'm starting a company for artists and creatives for health and wellness. It's for people that are underinsured or uninsured. It's a membership-based model. My goal is to launch either end of March or early April. Elise is my legal advisor. Yeah, and so basically my company is creating a network of providers, doctor, physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, yoga, dietary, and fitness people to get artists and creatives and people in the service industry as well. I included them because a lot of them are artists. And tech startup people, because a lot of them, they're creative. You have to be crazy to be an entrepreneur. So those are all of the people that I'm including in my network to provide healthcare for. Yeah, if anyone thinks they can help me, I'm not a tech person. I don't know anything about tech, so I need help in that field.
Medical. Yeah, I'm tech challenged too.
Yeah, I'm tech challenged.
So that's it. The rest of the time is just hangout time. Hopefully you saw a couple conversations that you want to strike up, but otherwise, thanks for coming, and we will see you next month. What's that?
Yeah, you want to check it out?
Yeah, so
and then when we see what calibrated, small characterize things. So I knew, like I said, I knew what the thing was. As they calibrated but it's hard to vary the phase, the phases, you get a point that is what it is. So if you do enough TM, I don't sound bad. That's essentially what you want to do. Yeah, that's the thing. And you also want to do it like, depending on the crowd. I know some of the higher end stuff is harder than that. Small crowd. Somebody with some guy had something around me. Walking around the room. Yeah, but I mean, you know, if you've already got that technology, you just got to build a microphone for you. Yeah, exactly. And then you might want to
you know what? That's one thing. I still don't have a card yet. But I can put the video and I'll email you.
Check.
And then you can ask me.
Very much like when a guitar is you know, you don't LA's flat like the song. That's what I'm saying. But It's pretty cool. Is this, oh, I wanted a picture of this.
Yeah. That's true, I Yeah.
I read a review on it the other day, and I was like, you got a World War II hero. Oh boy, I thought you were going up again. I overshot it. Thanks, Oh my God, it's so bad. I like Of course,
Pretty hyper
Yeah.
That's